Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad you're here this morning. I've got a great project for you today. If you like baskets, if you like the basket I made last week, you're going to love this basket too. It uses the same hexagon as a base, but it's made completely differently. And so I think you're going to like it though. And it just brings in a whole bunch of new florals and everything. So today's design is great for Easter, Mother's Day, birthdays, whatever you want to make a little basket for. And before I forget, these baskets do fit inside the printed gusseted bags if you want to package them up afterwards. So let me grab one of these. And here it is. Isn't it cute? These are actually slightly larger, just by slightly larger than the ones I made last week. And they take advantage of our pretty designer series paper. And I've got one side creates the base, and the other side I use to create the handle. So it kind of, can really take advantage of both sides of the paper. And what else can I tell you about this? Well, it has a hexagon base, and then it tapers to a circular top. So you can see the top is not in a hexagon form. So it's kind of unique, and I think you're going to like how it all comes together. Good morning, and thank you to everyone who's joined me this morning. And I will talk to you all afterwards. If you have questions for me along the way, please ask them while I'm live, or if you're watching the recording later, ask them in the comments. I would love to answer them. All right, if you know me, if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that on Saturdays I send out a project sheet to my email list subscribers, and this is only for my email list subscribers. So if you want to get on that list, you'll need to look down in the description of the video down below. You might need to click on see more, and there's a link to join my email list, and I send these out on Saturdays after I've kind of given it a trial run on my live. I don't like to post them right away because I do make adjustments and I add things to them. And I'm also going to have a little schematic, a little diagram on how to cut up the paper for the sides so that you have a nice diagram for you. So I hope you're enjoying these project sheets. And if you want to see my videos live every Friday, make sure that you are a YouTube subscriber of mine, and click on that little bell so that you can get notifications for when I go live in the future. All right, let's switch over. These baskets, they're not hard to make, but I'm going to show you some of the florals and how I decorated them up. So that's going to take a little while. So I want to get started on these. All right. I made a lot of baskets yesterday. They were so cute that I just went ahead and I made a bunch of them. And some of these products could be retiring next week, so I also wanted to give you options in case you didn't find my video for a couple of weeks, and then some of these products may already be sold out. And okay, it's hard to show projects in the camera this way, but you can put whatever candy you want in here. I've got little Dove chocolates in here and some basket filler, but this is using the Pansy Patch bundle, and so that's one way to decorate them up. Or you could do tulips with the Timeless Tulips stamp set and the Tulip Builder Punch. And so the Pansy Patch bundle has a nice paper that goes with it. It's called Pansy Petals. But this one I'm pretty sure will be retiring next week, and then it will be on while supplies last. And it could even sell out before the list is posted next week. So this paper is so gorgeous. And so take advantage of getting it now before it's going to be gone, because usually all the papers out of the annual catalog retire, and this one is in the annual catalog. And the other paper I'm using, this one will be around for a little bit longer, and that's why I actually wanted to point it out and make baskets with it. This one is the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper, and it's got a lot of tulip themes on it. So either way, you've got some different papers. And I'm not sure about the pansies and the tulips in terms of whether they'll be retiring next week. That will be neat to find out next week, but I'm not sure what will be retiring. Let me pop these baskets out of the way. So many of them. And let's talk quickly about the other products. So you will need the beautiful shapes dies. I'm using this largest hexagon to create the base. And I'm using the Celebrating You stamp set for this Happy Easter. This is a great stamp set for lots of different occasions. You got Happy Father's Day, Happy Birthday, Happy Mother's Day, Happy Anniversary, and then just some general sort of greetings. So this is a good versatile greeting set with beautiful fonts, and the Happy Easter is just gorgeous. So that's these two I used on both of the baskets. And then over there, then this is the Pansy Patch Bundle. And I would like to point out this month we have our mini cut and emboss machine. It's normally $60, but it's 20% off for March 2022 only. And it is $48 right now. And I'm going to be using it today to run these dies through. And the Pansy Patch Bundle is also on that 20% off sale. So it's a good time to get this one. And if either of these things sell out before the end of the month, then they're just gone and you won't be able to get them 20% off. So jump on it so that you can get it if you want. I have no idea. I didn't check today if they're on limited supply yet or not. Okay, so that's the Pansy Patch one. Put that one up there. And then Timeless Tulips. This used to be a bundle, but now it's available. These products are available separately, the Timeless Tulip Stamp Set and the Tulip Builder Punch. And that's what I used to create the tulips for the tulip baskets. Okay, trying to move stuff out of the way because I've got so many products here. And normally I would have chosen one or the other, but I was really concerned that something would sell out and I wanted to give you guys options. I used the double oval punch here to create the little labels on the baskets. Right here, the Happy Easter. Everything's kind of shifting because it's on an angle. Okay, I think that's all the products we need to talk about for now. So let's get started and let's make a basket. I like to use my Simply Scored scoring board because it is easy to score on here. Let me center this up on the camera. And I'll need my little tool that comes with it. And I'm going to I'll make a pansy basket today. And you'll notice with some of the papers that you're using, you might have a definite up and down pattern to it. So when we do the scoring, you're going to want the down pattern or the bottom to fit on the left side of your scoring board. I'll show you how I orient it in a second. So let me get my measurements up here. I don't want to stick. Okay, so this piece measures 8 5/8 inches by 2 1/4 inches. And so this is the bottom of the paper here. So I'm going to turn it to my left side here. And the first thing I'm going to do is score it at the 3/8 inch mark. and I'm using the big ball of my stylus tool just because this is designer series paper. I don't want to break through with the small ball on the stylus tool. Okay, 3/8 inch mark all the way down. Okay, now that bottom is going to the top right here, okay? I don't know if you can see my score line on the other side. There, you can kind of see it, but that needs to go up at the top. All right, so the thin scored piece goes up towards the top, and then we're going to do some interesting scoring. We're only going to score part way to that first score line. So we're not going all the way down. So we're going to score part way at 1 3/8, 2 3/4. See, I'm just going down to this line here. 4 1/8, just part way. 5 1/2, just part way. 6 7/8, just part way. And then finally, this last score line, you're going to go all the way down, and that is 8 1/4 inches all the way down. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. See how it's just scored part way down? This is going to allow us to create that smooth circular shape right up at the top. Okay, I'm going to make sure I follow my instructions really carefully. So I've got my paper snips here, and the first thing I'm going to do is cut away that little corner square that was created with the score marks. And when I'm cutting, sometimes like this busy pattern is very hard to see, to cut on. So either you need to take this towards the light like a window, or you might have a side that has a better view on it. So I'm going to cut from the back side. So I'm just going to cut away that corner square, and I'm going to do it on a bit of an angle because I'm going to create little tabs with my cutting. So then I'm going to cut little V's into my piece at each score intersection. And it was a good thing that I made 6 baskets last night, because as I was making the baskets, I tried different ways of putting them together. And I think I finally found the easiest way to put them together. I think I had 3 different ways to put it together, and I was like, nope, I still don't like how that goes together. And I think I found the best way. You might find a better way if you make 100 of them, but after 6, I found the best way for me. All right, so now we're going to curl this piece with a bone folder. And this is the pattern that I want on the outside. So I want to curl it so that it's going to have that shape, right? So you just want to help the basket come together. And don't fold the tabs until I tell you to, because this side tab here, I'm not going to fold it. It's purely so I can line things up nicely. I do have a score mark there, but I'm not going to fold along it. So now we are going to take our Tombow and we are going to put glue on that side tab, but it's going to not, I want that smooth circular shape. Okay, so I'm not going to fold it. Probably told you that 3 times now. So just put some Tombow right on there, and we're going to bring it together to form a circle. So just take a little moment and make sure that you've lined it up nicely. It's nice and flat with the top. Okay. And you can see right here, I think my tabs look pretty good. They all, okay. So I've got that. All right, so now is the time to fold down these bottom tabs one at a time. Fold each of them down. Okay, so what we want to do, we'll shape this in a second. We want to put this flat down on the surface and make it as even as possible all the way around. So we need to cut some bases first so we can create our little hexagon bases. So let me grab my mini cut and emboss machine, open her up, and one of the things with this machine, I was not pleased with it at first because I was using the regular base and my machine is calibrated a little tight. They're all maybe slightly different. Some people had problems, some people didn't. I had problems. So someone told me use the number 3 plate instead of the number 1 plate, and it was a huge changer for me. And now I love my mini cut and emboss. So I just set my 1 plate aside, and I'm going to put my number 3 plate down and then a clear plate on top of that. And I need to find my hexagons. Where are you guys? Here they are. And I'm going to use the largest hexagon. And for this base, I'm going to use soft succulent cardstock. And then we'll just pop the second clear plate on top. And we're going to run it through. So easy now. I just love it. Love, love, love it. Okay, in the interest of time, I already cut a second one up. You'll need 2 of them. Let me just pop these aside for a second. Okay. And bring back in our little circular basket. Now I have tried to attach this in different ways, and because my sides are just a little bit bigger, I wanted the colorful basket to show. I didn't want any rim to show. So the rim, the base is actually a little smaller than the outside of the basket. So I've tried different ways to attach this, and this is the best way I came up with. You can try a different way. So I've got this sitting flat on here and is about as circular or hexagon as I can get. I'm going to take one of these pieces and I'm putting Tombow just on the tippy edge of all of these, okay? And the reason you don't want to put it on the whole piece is because there's still a hole in the center. And this one we're actually going to attach right down in the bottom, okay? So just on the very edge of this piece, that's all you want. And then you're going to align this. Look at your hexagon at the bottom and see, you know, make sure one of the flat sides matches up with the flat side. And then you're going to drop this down inside there. And I'm going to use my paper piercing tool or use something to kind of position it in place. And usually you can kind of position it before you press it down. Okay. And then once it looks good, you can press it down. And then just use your fingers and press all of those pieces in place. See, that's easy, so much easier than before. Now I also want to create a hexagon on the top or the bottom to finish this off and to make sure everything seals up really nicely. Also, since this is designer series paper, it's going to make this very sturdy. So now I can put Tombow all over this one because I can. And then we're just going to pop this on top. And this time, make sure it looks nice and aligned. And then you're going to flip it over and then press it down again. So now both of those bases are going to glue together with those little designer series paper tabs at the bottom. And now look at that. Isn't that cool? You've got the circular top with the hexagon bottom. Ta-da! All right, I thought it would look nice to create a little rim for the top, and it will also strengthen the basket a little bit because designer series paper isn't as thick as cardstock. So I've got another strip of the soft succulent here, and this one measures 8 3/8 inches by 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to curl this with my bone folder, and it's going to fit around here. You can decide where you put the glue. You can either put it around the rim or you can put it on the strip. I've tried both. I don't know if either way is perfect, but I'm just going to put it on here. Find it just a tad bit easier to put it on the strip. And I don't go quite to the end, and I try and keep that glue in a fairly small bead in the center. And then I like to have all my seams in the same spot. So I found the seam on my basket, and I'm going to line up my cardstock right there. And then I'm just going to start pressing with my fingers and going around, and you'll see this probably will lift up a bit. Just press it down. Just kind of mold it to the top of the basket. Okay, and you'll find there's just a teensy weensy bit of an overlap right at the end, depending on how your basket came together, and then you can just snip that little tiny bit off and then just press it down. Come along one more time, press the whole thing down, and look, isn't that beautiful? It's already beautiful. It's a beautiful little container even without putting a handle on it. Okay, so now we're going to put a handle on it, and you can decide, do you want like a floral top, or do you want to have a different color top? So you can decide. For my original basket, I did the yellow top. So let's do a floral top and see how that looks. So I've got 2 pieces of cardstock, one of cardstock and one of paper, and they both measure the same. They are 11 inches by half an inch. 11 inches by half an inch. And I will put Tombow along one of them. And then I'll just line them up. This also creates like a stronger handle because you're doubling up the cardstock. Just make sure it's lined up. And then we're going to take our bone folder and just run it along there. And then especially we want a bigger curve up at the top, so you're going to spend more time curling it right at the very top. Okay, so now I'm going to find my seam, and I'll put this handle right next to the seam. I'm going to line this up on the edge of the basket. And then I'll put my thumb right where the handle meets the rim of the basket. This is going all the way down, all the way to the bottom of the basket, okay? And then I'll put Tombow right there and line it up, press it down. And for those of you not familiar with Tombow, this glue is awesome for holding your paper crafting projects together. It's going to keep them together. They're not going to fall apart. Okay, so that's the first side. And then we're going to put this one all the way into the bottom. And then I'll put my thumb right there. That's going to let me know how much Tombow I can put on there. Don't go beyond my thumb. And then put that back inside and press it down. Look how beautiful is that. I love it. So pretty, right? Okay, so to decorate this basket up, this one, of course, has the pansy paper. So let's create a little pansy. Got a little piece of paper right here. And I'm going to kind of create probably the easiest pansy there is to create. And so we'll start off, I'm going to use 3 colors. For my pansies, I always choose a base color, whatever color that is. And then I use Blackberry Bliss and Daffodil Delight. So for this one, the main color of the flower is Highland Heather, but you can change this out to whatever color you want. So, Highland Heather. Ink, 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 ink. Stamp down. This is basic white cardstock, our regular one, not our thick one. Our regular cardstock has a really nice smooth finish on it for stamping purposes. Then we're going to take this stamp. It's already kind of been stained a bit with blackberry. And we'll just ink this up. And I can see right through the stamp, and it's going to stamp right in the center. You can already see my little pansy coming to life. And then, last but not least, we're going to take the Daffodil Delight and put that little flower center onto there. So ta-da! That's all there is to the pansy. And then we're also going to need to stamp a couple of leaves. And for those leaves, I'm going to use Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen. They work very well together. For these 2 leaves, it's a 2-step stamp. And I found that it's easier to stamp the detail in Evening Evergreen first. So let's just do that. Stamp the detail first. And then we'll come in with Soft Succulent. And this is the bold shape. And now I'm going to hover over top of the evergreen and stamp down. It's so much easier to do it in this direction than the opposite one because I find that I can line up the edge. Usually it's the top and the left side of the leaf. I line that up, and then it's very easy to get it right almost all the time, versus if you do the Soft Succulent first and then the evergreen, it's just so much harder. So just a little tip for those ones. I'm trying to think if I need to die cut anything else before I bring it out. No, I think I'm good. So let's bring in Mini Boss, the Mini Boss again, and we'll need our same plate assembly, the number 3 and the 2 clear plates. And so don't follow the instructions that they tell you to do. You can try it with the number 1 plate, but if it doesn't work, if it's too tight, if it doesn't go through nicely, try the number 3 plate. I'm sure you're going to be happy then. Okay, so we'll come in here, and I've got a little piece. This is Post-it note tape, Post-it labeling and cover-up tape, or you can use the top of a Post-it note. And this is just going to help me keep my little die in place as I run this through. So take a little time and just get it centered. And then, whoops, tape it down. It actually didn't even shift when I did that, so that's kind of cool. Put my second plate on top. I'm going to run that through. Yay! Okay, so there's my little pansy. Isn't it cute? All right, and you can do the same for the leaves. Here is my little die. Scoot this back over to the side. You can actually run this through in both directions, but I like to run it through from left to right. So do what you love. So I'm just going to take this leaf, center it, put that tape on. You can reuse this tape a number of times before it will die on you. Okay, come through, and oh, it's stuck. Pull this off. And there's my little leaf, and I'm actually die cut an extra leaf, so I don't need to show you how to do that again. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a little piece of soft succulent cardstock and our pansy and our second leaf here, and we're going to just put a little tombow right up at the top of this. Did I tell you the measurements? This is 3/8 of an inch by 3 inches. And I'll just pop this on here like that. And then I'm going to add a little tombow here and just put the little leaf on here and a little here. Okay, so that's my little stake, my little pansy stake that I can put in the basket. And then we're going to create a little greeting for the basket. And that's what I'm using the Celebrating You stamp set for. And I'm going to use Evening Evergreen. In fact, I use Evening Evergreen as the color for all the basket greetings. I didn't change out that color at all. You can if you want to. I just, Evening Evergreen is a very dark color that it will almost look black, or it's so dark that you can't always see the green. So it's kind of, it almost becomes like a neutral color. And then we'll take our double oval punch. And we're just going to go ahead and center that in the punch and punch it. Oh, and I think I forgot to get a piece of soft succulent for my background. I've got lots of soft succulent cardstock lying around because it's one of my most used greens right now. Okay, and then we'll punch soft succulent. I chose the same background as my rim to kind of keep everything looking the same. And then we'll just adhere these two together. I love, love, love this double oval punch. It's so handy for greetings. It's so easy to pop them up together. Okay, and then I've got another piece of cardstock, and this one is 1/2 inch by 3 inches. If you don't like the width of this one, you could make it narrower as well. I just kind of chose a measurement for it. I felt like the pansy needed to have a narrower base. So I'm just going to stick that on there. Put it on the back. If you want to back these up with another punch, if you don't like the look of having, you know, that white on the back, you could punch yourself another soft succulent and put it on the back. And the same with the pansy. You could die cut yourself another pansy and put it on the back of this so that it wouldn't be symmetrical, but you could put like a just like a white one to kind of finish it off, or use Highland Heather cardstock or something to back it up so that it had a nicer look from the back. But it doesn't look too bad to me, and I didn't want to take the time. So there is the basket, and then I'll just use some basket filler. Whenever I get a gift or some packing paper and stuff, I like to recycle things. So this came, I'm not sure, I think this might have been a gift from Stampin' Up, and it had a lot of basket filler, and I saved it in a bag, and I thought I'm going to use that one day, and sure enough, it comes in handy to have that. So just fill yourself up a little basket filler. And then I've got these Dove chocolates. You can use whatever you want. These are really pretty. It's Dove tulips and butterflies. I found this at a local grocery store. And this is, you know, kind of a different, you can put eggs in there, foil covered eggs, or Easter bunny. Like, remember last week? You remember my little basket from last week, my little woven basket. So you can fill it up like this with a caramel egg and Dove chocolate and Ghirardelli chocolate. You can totally go that route too. I'll put those baskets side by side for you afterwards so you can see the size difference. So then you can just tuck in your pansy, and you can make adjustments if you want it to be a little shorter, and you can also glue it to the back wall so that it doesn't shift. I'm just going to tuck it for now. Whoops. And then the Happy Easter. Tuck it in. And you can put these wherever you want within the basket and change up the size. So, you know, one's lower than the other. But that's how I would just add some candy to the basket. And then, I didn't want to forget to tell you, but now I've remembered because I've told you twice. These baskets fit into these printed gusseted bags. So if you wanted to give these out, if your stakes, I would probably glue these to the side, the pansy and the Easter greeting, because when you're putting these in the bag, it's hard to do it when they're not attached, because they're going to maybe want to pull out a little bit. See, they're pulling out. Okay, but you get what I mean. So you can tuck this inside here, and then you could tie up some ribbon up at the top, and that way you know all the contents of this basket will stay inside. Like, say you're giving them out to a group, and you want to make sure that, you know, the basket isn't going to lose all of its contents. Then you can put them in these little cellophane bags, and they're so pretty. They've got some little white printing on them, but they just add a very elegant touch to wrapping up your basket. So I wanted to show you the baskets side by side. So this one and this one, let me shove some of my stuff out of the way. So you've got a nice clean view. All right, kind of out of the way. So much stuff today. Okay, so here are the two different baskets I made, and one was the handle that had the printed floral, and one was the flip side with just kind of the plain handle. Now seeing them both side by side, I really do think I like the flipped color a little bit, just for some contrast, but I wanted to see how it looks. So I mean, both look fine, but it's nice to have that little bit of contrast, I think, right? And then I wanted to show you the difference last week. Oops, yes, this was last week's basket. The little let me switch these out so you can see the difference in the baskets. So, oops, the chocolate is not glued down, guys, so it's gonna shift. But you could also make a daffodil basket, right? That would be super cute as well. You know, just choose some paper. So the pansy paper has some patterns that this gingham pattern is very neutral. So if you use that pattern, it's not going to, you know, you can put it with whatever flower you want. But so the size difference, this one is just a little bit larger because it's got a round shape up at the top. So it can hold a little bit more candy than the little daffodil basket can. And then just, you know, to compare, we've got, you know, the tulip, we've got pansy, and we got a daffodil. And if you want the daffodil tutorial from last week, just look back 1 week in my blog and you will find the tutorial for that there. So here are all the baskets. There's just so many of them. So cute, right? Ta-da! Yay! All right, I'm coming over to you guys. Hello, hello. Well, if you need any of the products that I use today, if you want to make these baskets, you can place an order with me. I have a supply list down below in the description of this YouTube video, or I have a complete supply list also on my blog. And if you order from me, please use this host code for March 2022, and you will get a gift if you spend at least $50 with me. But actually this month, for every $50 you spend, you're going to get a pack of my 6x6 designer series paper. So make sure that you use the host code, and you will also get a tutorial from me if you spend at least $15 with me. And I have over 80 tutorials to choose from. So please, I hope you'll place an order to get the products that you need with me, and that way I can reward you. Okay, let's pop these away. Oh, sometimes it is hard to get those away. Is there anything else I need to tell you? I think I got it. I'm going to read some of your comments and see what you think of these Easter baskets and see how you guys are today. Good morning, Ellie. Spring is coming. Yes, it is. It's going to be 55 degrees. That's awesome. I'm not sure how warm it's going to be today here. It was already pretty warm this morning. It was 50 degrees, I think, around when we woke up. So it was nice. I've got crocuses coming up in the front yard, and so all is good. Good morning, Marty. And she's already at 60 degrees in Pittsburgh. That's awesome. You slept with your windows open. That was so nice. Yes, awesome. And Marty said those baskets are just what we need. Oh, thank you. And Ellie agrees. Good morning, Janine. Good morning, Alita. Good morning, Karen and Denise from South Dakota. Good morning, Pat. Oh, and Pat says, hey, y'all, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, please. It really helps her channel. Aw, thank you, Pat. Yes, I forget to tell people to put the thumbs up on my video, and I really appreciate that. Whether you're a demonstrator friend or just cruising by, or if you are one of my customers or team members, all of that helps. It helps other people see what I do, and hopefully I bring you things that you don't always see on other channels, because I really do try to be creative when I'm making my projects for Fridays. Good morning, Dee. Good morning, Janice. She just checked the inventory, and the mini machine is not yet on short supply. Well, that's great, because we are about mid-month right now, and you never know. With Stampin' Up, all of a sudden someone will demonstrate something and it will like take off like hotcakes. And so I'm always a little nervous. And that's why I overdid this week's projects, because I hate doing too many supplies on a project. But I figured that you'll either probably want to do tulips or daffodils or pansies, and you'll pick one of them and then you'll work with it. And sometimes I have to go with the color scheme of the paper. So that's why there's a whole bunch of different colors of ink pads, but you can choose, like, you don't have to do the pansies in 3 different colors. Choose your favorite colors, or do them in all the colors. I have every single ink pad that Stampin' Up! Has. I own them all, because I love to be able to use all the different colors. I love all the different shades, and whatever mood I'm in, I love to do that. But when you're starting out, you might just be able to get 3 ink pads, and that's fine. That's how I started out way back in the day. I actually, what I did when I first started stamping was I got 2 ink pads each month. I was part of a stamping club. And so I would always choose like a stamp set. Back then we didn't have dies, so we didn't have bundles. But I would choose like a stamp set, and I would choose like, okay, I'm going to use that stamp set with this color cardstock and these ink pads. And so I would always kind of like gear my purchases around like a stamp set. Now, if I was starting today, I would gear it around a bundle. So just choose a bundle and work my way around that. Okay. Oh, and the Mini Boss, it's such a great entry die cutting machine because it's so small and light compared to our other ones. This one's when it's spread out, but it's like really small. It's like the size of my head, and it's portable. So this is really nice. And you can do, you can cut the hexagons on here. You can cut the pansies on here. You will need this if you want to cut a hexagon with the beautiful shapes dies. You'll either need this or another die cutting machine, and $48 is such a nice price point for a portable machine this month only. So, okay. I know I'm talking a lot about it. I'm excited about it because I didn't like it for almost a year. We were enemies and I wasn't sure how I was going to promote this. I wasn't going to promote it. And I posted this on a business thread, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do this month. I'll promote the bundles because I love the bundles. And then I was having trouble with how I would just not talk about the Mini Boss at all. And then someone chimed in and she said, well, have you tried it with that? She said, I had the same problem, but have you tried it, switching out that base plate to the gray instead of the white? And I was like, no. And I tried it and it worked. And then my problem was solved because now I've been using it all month long. I want to continue to use it to make sure it's still working, and it is. It works with the narrower embossing folder. So that's why I'm excited about it, because I wasn't before, and now I can recommend it. All right. Okay. Carol says, I'm on your email list, but can't seem to get your project sheets. What can I do to get them? So Carol, why don't you reach out to me? I think you might have a unique enough name. If you put your first and last name into my, into the email system when you signed up, I probably can try and find you. But you know what, please reach out to me, because by the time I leave here, I might not be able to access this particular chat anymore. So if you reach out to me separately on the contact form, we can see what's going on. I encourage everyone to put my email address into your address book. That really helps a lot. The project sheet is difficult for one thing, because it is, I don't know, it's one of those links that spam filters tend to like pick up on. So some people have trouble getting it. But let me know and we'll see what we can do to fix that. Karen loves it. Thank you so much. Janine loves it too. Birgit says, sorry, she missed the beginning. Well, just go back and watch it, and the project sheet will come out tomorrow, and hopefully that will answer all the questions you have. Good morning, Tina. Tina loved the basket. Thank you. Dee says, very sweet gift basket for Easter candy, and the cellophane bag with a ribbon would make it a real nice gift. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Lots of the same comments about beautiful baskets. Ah, Brigitte says, now I can't decide what basket to make. They're all so pretty. Well, that's a good problem to have, right? Make one of each, right? If you have the products already. I really, out of all of them, so it's weird. I think tulips are my favorite flower, because you can only get them this time of year. But I also really love pansies. So I kind of have a love affair with pansies. It's one of the first stamp sets I ever bought from Stampin' Up. It was on my very first order. We had this pansy stamp set. So I love pansies. This one's even cooler than the one that I first got. And I also love daffodils. Maybe I just love spring flowers. So yeah, maybe I have the same problem, and that's why I made 3 different baskets over the last 2 weeks. Ellie says, your designs are always finished off so professionally. Just beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Tina says it's going to be 78 in Maryland. Wow, it's like almost summer. That might be a little bit too warm. It's so hard to transition, right? Dee says it was sunny on Tuesday, cold on Wednesday. Yesterday was sunny and 70 degrees. Oh yeah, it's been up and down here too. Marty says, I've been going back and forth over the mini machine. I'm pretty sure I have to have it now. You know what the nice thing about the mini machine is, and what I have found is I have a die cutting machine behind me on my workstation, and I have a die cutting machine at my feet for die cutting during demonstrations. I have more than one. And since now the mini cut, mini boss, some people call it the mini boss, is also at my feet, I've been grabbing it to run through little things as I'm designing. And so what that tells me is that, wow, this is like, it's easy enough now that I'm not running back to my cutting station where I have everything set up at the right height. For a quick thing, I'm just even grabbing the little mini boss. So it just tells me that I do things that tend to be easy. So this has become like an easy tool for me to use, and I'm happy with it. So I can recommend it. But you have to make those decisions for you. It's a nice machine to have on your work desk if you're designing and stuff, because you don't have to haul out a bigger machine or go across the room. Dee says the mini machine is a game changer. It's so handy to have on your work surface. Exactly, right? I remember the first time I used the machine and launched the plates across the table. Yes, I did. It just went whoosh right across. It was not good. It was because it's too tight. Like, so I've had several different stamp and cut and emboss machines over the years, and they're all a little different. Like I had 3 of one company because I used to do classes and I needed 3 machines, and they were all had, like when you ran them through, you could feel exact same sandwich, exact same platform, you ran them through, and they're calibrated differently. So that's why sometimes you'll have people like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know why you're having problems. And then you have me, and like my plates were shooting across the room because it was too much tension. It was too tight. And the little gray plate is just, I guess, a hair thinner. It still cuts beautifully, but it's just not quite as tight. So now I'm happy with it. Fix the problem. Just need to, if you have the same problem as my machine had, take your plate and put like a red star on it with a Sharpie or something that the next time you grab the machine, you need to use the light gray number 3 plate instead of the white plate so you don't get confused. Laura, hi Laura, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. All right, Marty asked, can you use the pansy die set to cut a pansy without stamping? Yes, you can. Yes, it's got a lot of pieces. This die set has a lot. So technically you can create that whole pansy just out of a die cut if you prefer that look. I like to use the combination of stamping and then die cutting around, because for me it's a little faster. I can stamp faster and then die cut. I could stamp like a whole line of the pansies and then just die cut the outsides, and it goes a little quicker than taking the different pieces that you need and then gluing them all together, because it's like a a layered process. And I think I did do a die cut one last year, because this has been around since around this time last year. So look back to spring or do a search on my blog, and you'll see how I put like a die cut pansy together, and other people have done them as well. So yeah, you could absolutely just do a die cut pansy instead of a stamped one. I'm just enamored. I really truly love stamping. Die cutting is cool and all, and I use the die cut shapes and stuff, but the stamping in combination with die cutting is beautiful. And sometimes just stamping directly onto paper, it's beautiful and it's fast. Like if you ever had to stamp like a whole bunch of cards, you do not want to have 10 different die cuts on your card if you have to do a lot of them, because you will go crazy. Now, if you're creating one very special card, a bunch of die cuts, it's not going to bother you. But it just depends on how much time you want to spend on the card. If you're making 10 baskets and you have to do 10 die cut pansies, then that might be a lot. Whereas if you're just taking these and stamping and die cutting around them, then you're not having to glue all those layers together, and it still looks very, very pretty. But everyone has what they love, and so yeah, you absolutely can build it. That's a long answer to your question, but I guess I love questions, so I'll always give you a long-winded answer to make sure I answer it. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you get sunshine throughout your weekend. And let me know if you have any questions about these projects, because I will answer them. And I hope I get to see some of your baskets, because they that always makes me happy when I see that you are using my projects. All right, guys, I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you back here next Friday. And next Tuesday, I go live at 10 a.m. Eastern on my Facebook page. So YouTube on Fridays, Facebook on Tuesdays. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.